Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. Here I share stories and strategies to help you bounce back, stress less, and ultimately feel better. And today we're going to be talking about what to do, 4 specific steps to do when you're feeling utterly and entirely overwhelmed. But first, a quick story. Many years ago, I was a fourth grade teacher, and one particular year, Washington State, had decided that they were going to do this standardized test. It was called the WASL, and it stood for Washington Assessment of Student Learning. And it was a standardized test. It includes short term and long term essay questions, it included multiple choice. So that was nothing new. What was new was the way the test was being administered. And the state had a good reason for doing this. They wanted to level the playing field for every fourth grader taking this test across the state. However, the way this test was supposed to be administered created a lot of undue stress. And let me tell you what happened. There could be nothing on the walls. And the vast majority of us, because we didn't want to tear our classroom apart, put up plain butcher paper covering everything in the classroom. Nothing on the walls, nothing visible on the board, nothing. To make matters worse, teachers were not allowed to go off script. There was a script for us to read as soon as the test started through the entirety of the test. And that meant I couldn't explain test questions in different ways for different students. That meant that I couldn't give them encouragement. That meant that I couldn't answer any of their questions once the test started. And as you can imagine, for fourth graders, that was a heavy lift. And it was so heavy, it was utterly and completely overwhelming. So I went to bed one night thinking, oh my goodness, I've got kids vomiting in my class because they're just so stressed out about this test coming up. What can I do to help them? What can I do practically that isn't necessarily going to break the rules? Maybe bend them a little. And I came up with an acronym, SNAP. And actually, when we did this test, I explained what the acronym SNAP stood for them. And then I had a visual cue that I could do to the kids when the test started. And then whenever they were taking the test, some of them would look up at me, just this look of just sheer deer in the headlights. And I could silently do this so as not to disrupt anybody else who was concentrating. But that visual cue was a way to remind them, hey, I know you're overwhelmed. I see you. I get it. I know how you feel, but you got this. And so what does SNAP stand for? First, S, stop your brain. Our brain is automatically wired, naturally wired to go to the negative and just run wild. Things snowball. We ruminate. We worry. We think about the same things over and over. We think about the negative, the what ifs. Stop it. Press pause. You can't control the thoughts that come into your head, but you get to pick which thoughts take residence, what gets to stay. So stop your brain. Wipe the slate clean. You are in control, even though you feel utterly overwhelmed right now. Next, nothing but nice. Thousands of years ago, we were worried about our survival constantly. And so we were bent toward the negative, toward the defense. And thousands of years in the future, where we are now, most of us don't have to worry about tigers, lions, and bears getting us. However, we do perceive feeling overwhelmed and many other things as a legitimate threat, and we respond accordingly. So we need to think nothing but nice. Your life, at least most of the time, is not in immediate danger. So take a moment now that you've stopped your brain and fill it with nothing but nice. You've done hard things before. You've succeeded at things. You've overcome obstacles and challenges. You can be proud of yourself, and you can make yourself proud of yourself again in this moment. Nothing but nice. Next, A, all that you know. You know a lot. Those kids, my fourth graders, knew a lot. It just might not feel like it now. It doesn't feel like it when you're overwhelmed. That feeling of being completely and utterly overwhelmed and encompassed tends to wipe out all that you know. No, take a minute. Bring it all back. You know a lot. Even if you don't know the answer, You know a lot and you can use it. And that brings me to the last step, P, put it to use. When my kids were taking that test, I told them, even if you don't know the right answer, even if you get the wrong answer, even if you don't know what the answer is or what it could possibly be, show your work. Write it down. That's because I knew that the kids would get partial credit for showing their work if they put what they did know to use. And you know what? That works for us in life too. Even if we don't know exactly how we're going to get to that end destination or, complete or reach our goal, we get credit for putting what we do know to use. So do that. Because when we do that, it gets us to the next right step. And we don't have to know the way or the answer to get all the way to where we need to be or want to be. All we have to do is take one step at a time. And how do we do that? We think about all that we know and we put it to use. And that, my friend, is how you climb out of feeling totally and completely overwhelmed. So the next time that feeling starts to come over you and you start feeling gripped and you start feeling like a deer in the headlight moment, just remember, stop your brain, nothing but nice, all that you know, and put it to use. I hope that this little tip has helped you or will help you in the future. And I thank you so much for watching. If you like this idea and this kind of tip, please give me a like. And if you're not part of our community, please consider subscribing. But for now, I'll say bye-bye and I'll catch you in the next video.